All right. I think we've got the folks that are going to be here this morning early on a Saturday. We're so excited that you're here. My name is Bobby Gandu. I'm an assistant vice president and director of admissions at Wichita State. It's our great pleasure to have you here early on a Saturday morning. We're thankful that you're going to spend a little bit of time with us today to learn more specifically about our honors college and all that we can offer underrepresented students. So over in admissions, it's our great pleasure to work really closely with the Cohen Honors College team, the faculty, the staff, the administrators who are providing services, courses, and additional outreach and support for honors students at Wichita State. So you're going to hear from them very shortly, and you're also going to have an opportunity to hear from one of our honors college graduates, actually two of our honors college graduates, who are out and very successful in their respective fields. So I'm really excited that actually they've been able to join us on a Saturday morning too. Before we get going too far into the Cohen Honors College, we thought it might be helpful for you to hear just a little bit about Wichita State in case you're not too familiar with us at a higher level. So in terms of the university, we've been around for 128 years, so quite a bit of time, but we've been able to celebrate the largest freshman classes in the last 3 fall semesters alone. And so what we think that means is that we're doing a lot of things the way that students and families are considering college and higher education, meaning that we are really focused on outcomes for students. We want to make sure we're helping our students achieve whatever their personal, their professional, and their educational goals are, whether it's to go on to med school, to grad school, to get a job right out of college, to pursue a career in performance or nursing, whatever the case is. We feel like we are doing all we can to help our students be successful. And to that end, because we've had a lot of growth in terms of new students at Wichita State, we've been able to beef up our infrastructure in terms of adding new buildings, renovating existing buildings, and making sure that we have the infrastructure that's necessary for our students to be successful. And to that end, we do have 3 beautiful residence halls, all less than 10 years old at Wichita State, meaning that all of our students who live on campus have a really modern on-campus living experience. And in fact, our honors college is housed in the first floor of one of those buildings, and you'll hear a little bit about that later. So I thought it'd be fun to just have a quick video to showcase some of the things going on at Wichita State. Here's 30 seconds worth of university life. Oh. So a few more details about the university these days. This stat needs a quick update, actually, but this week we announced that we have more than 17,500 students at Wichita State. We are NCAA Division I. We have 70 plus majors, lots of areas of study. More than 90% of our classes have fewer than 50 students. And you'll probably hear from Dr. Harrison here in just a little bit that our honors college classes actually have far fewer students in them on average too. So if you're looking for an intimate experience, honors college can really help propel that forward for you as part of your Wichita State experience. And then we have a large number of first generation students. We're the most diverse university in Kansas, and we really wear those as badges of honor. We're proud that we are the home and destination for so many students who might be the first in their family to go to college, and that many of those students come from diverse backgrounds. We think we are helping our students really change the trajectories of their families and their ultimately their careers. So I thought I'd show just a quick video to get you acquainted with campus. We had registered to attend this particular event students from all over the country, and I know it may be difficult for you to make it on campus. And so we just have a quick hyperlapse video that might showcase some of the views of campus these days. One project that I wanted to mention was the Shocker Success Center. It's not in the video you just saw because we're actually in the midst of building it, but it's really important that we convey and share this with future students because we want students and families to know that we are ultra focused on improving outcomes for our students. So right now under construction in the middle of campus is this brand new building, or it's actually an older building, but we completely have gutted it, renovated it, or in the process of renovating it and investing $17 million into it. And so you see here on the screen a list of various services and offices that actually already exist on our campus. The challenge for us is that while these offices exist on our campus and we have a 330-acre campus, they're spread out in amongst about 12, 13 different buildings. And so what we're doing is we're putting them all into this newly remodeled building that's located right in the middle of campus, so literally next to our student center. And so that means when students might need access to something like our one-stop student services where they can get first-year advising, they can get help with just about any question under the sun at Wichita State, then they might also be able to go visit our math lab, and then they could also visit our writing center, or perhaps check in with our Shocker support locker, where we essentially have free food and hygiene items that students can grab. So lots of resources, lots of services in there. We're intentionally putting it next to the student center. And on the other side of it is our campus library, because we want students to go in there all the time. We really want students to have regular access to these services because we know how important they are in terms of student success and outcomes. Perhaps one of the last couple of things I mentioned before I talk about admission and scholarships is that we have really carved out a niche in this space of applied learning at Wichita State. And for any of you who might already be receiving mail from us, or perhaps have attended an event with us, you may know that we really focus on this and we talk about it a lot. We think as a unique institution, or our unique proposition as an institution, is that we offer every single student an applied learning experience before they graduate from Wichita State. It's going to look different based off of what major you're thinking about and what major you end up in graduating with. But that being said, we're going to work really hard to make sure you have some experiences that not only add to your resume, your LinkedIn profile, but they help demonstrate to an employer or a graduate school or a medical school how you have gone further beyond the classroom experience. So you see a few stats here. Last year, our students earned almost $29 million and more than 8,000 different internships and on-campus positions. And so not only the benefit of getting that real world experience with these positions is most of them, more than 90% of our students are receiving paid positions during their experience at Wichita State. By the way, just as a fun quick shout out, this young man here at the top right, you're going to hear from him in just a little bit. His name is Lucas Webb, and this was him when he was a student intern at NASA out on the West Coast in California, but now he has since graduated, so you'll actually have the opportunity to hear from him. And by the way, this young lady at the top left that you see, her name is Ebony. She's originally from Salina, Kansas, and she is attending Wichita State as a Rudd Scholar, which is a really great scholarship program. And through that, through her experience at Wichita State, she's had multiple internships. Her most recent one was this past summer. She got to intern with Apple out on the West Coast as well. And so she has since returned to Wichita State, but she also has been offered an internship with Tesla. So really some specific experiences that we look forward to offering for our students through Wichita State. So I want to transition a little bit and make sure I talk about scholarships, because we know that this is really important. And later we're going to have Andrew Myers from our Honors College talk about Honors College specific scholarships. But in the meantime, these are high-level scholarships that are available to any student, regardless of major, but also regardless of whether or not you're part of the Honors College program. But if you receive pretty much any of the Honors College scholarships, they will stack with freshman merit scholarships. To kind of boil this down, to apply for admission to Wichita State. It's a really fluid and quick process. And once you have applied, we'll automatically consider you for freshman merit scholarships. And based off of your GPA that you can see here, or your GPA and your standardized test score, we can provide you a 4-year scholarship package. And you see those amounts here. The amounts in bold that you see listed here are for out-of-state students who might not be paying a tuition discount, and for any of you who are in-state students or your students who have an opportunity to receive a tuition discount because you're from states like Oklahoma, Texas, Colorado, Arkansas, Nebraska, Iowa. Those students from those respective states all receive tuition discounts. So you can triangulate here based off of your GPA, your ACT, what scholarship package you would be able to receive from Wichita State. We have already started providing these scholarship offers, by the way. They will be, we've rolled out about $2.3 million in offers to this year's high school senior class already. For those of you who are perhaps younger, perhaps sophomores or juniors in high school, just know that we encourage you to apply for admission this summer prior to you being a high school senior. And so that would be as early as July 1st before you enter your senior year of high school. So last thing I'll mention, and then I think this is one of the last slides that I have, but I want to make sure I mention this because students who are interested in honors tend to do really well with our Distinguished Scholarship Invitational. So you see a slide here. So I showed you that grid, and it's a great scholarship opportunity, and that's kind of what we offer right out of the gate. But what you're seeing here is a way to deepen the scholarship pockets with Wichita State. We offer 3 $64,000 scholarships where our students our high school seniors are able to compete for those awards. And ultimately, the top winners, the 3 winners, will receive $64,000, not 64 dollars. I'm not sure what happened there. So apologize for that. That should be $64,000. But in addition to that, we have typically about 500 students compete for it. But we also offer about 75 other scholarships through it for students who are competing. So just be aware of that. Want to make sure you know the key for this in order to be considered is you got to be admitted, and then we can walk you through all of the process from there. All right, I'm going to skip forward because I want to spend less time with me talking. I want to show one last quick video showcasing 60 seconds of student life experience, and then we're going to kick it over to my friends in the Honors College.
Are you ready?
Oh, try this again. By the way, that was all footage from the first 2 weeks of class just last fall semester. So really active student life. All right. So next video I have, if I can get myself to push the right button this time, is a quick introduction of our Honors College.
Are you ready to push yourself to new heights? The Dorothy and Bill Cohen Honors College at Wichita State University is designed for high-achieving students like you. You'll have access to small group classes taught by some of the university's top professors. You'll have opportunities for research, study abroad, and leadership development, giving you the chance to make an impact in your field. Prosper in a community of like-minded students who will push you to reach your full potential. Take the first step towards reaching your goals and apply to the Cohen Honors College today. Wichita State University Cohen Honors College, where excellence is the standard.
All right. So you may have noticed that voice talent in that clip, and that is Dr. Kevin Harrison. He is the Director for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and also an assistant teaching professor in our Cohen Honors College. And he is going to MC from here and also later introduce Andrew Myers, another Honors College professional who oversees the scholarships and student services. So I'm going to leave this slide up, and I'm going to kick it over to my friend, Dr. Harrison.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Gandu. I'll be real brief because I want to try to get to our guests. We have a couple of former Honors College students who are just really out in the world doing great things, and I want them to kind of share how Honors College prepared them for that. But I want to start by also kind of piggybacking off of a couple of things Mr. Gandu had mentioned. This is an exciting time to be a part of what's going on at Wichita State with growing enrollment, with applied learning opportunities, and so many other things that we have going on with the Innovation Campus. Another thing that he mentioned is that how important diversity and inclusion is. And so within the Honors College, we feel the same way. Just as it is important for the university as a whole, it's important that we're intentional about getting our information out to first generation students, underrepresented minorities, and then any other students who may not get this information. And so the fact that you're on here at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning means that you're taking your future serious. So we want to thank you for doing that. That said, that's kind of why you were invited here. What is honors? Sometimes that's a little bit hard to define. If I said College of Health Professions or College of Engineering, you would know exactly what that is. We have the unique privilege of being able to share students with any of those colleges. So you can major in anything and still be able to obtain an honors distinction. We have students in Honors College, over 700 students in the Honors College that represent every major on this campus. So the advantage of that, there are probably several advantages that I hope you pick up throughout this conversation, but I'll tell you just a couple. One of the advantages that I like is that your perspectives become a part of the curriculum. A lot of times people say our honors class is harder, and we don't necessarily describe them as being harder. We describe them as being more meaningful. Sometimes more meaningful does mean more rigorous, but at the same time, the world is rigorous. Careers are rigorous. So why not prepare yourself for a rigorous career or a rigorous world by taking courses that are a little bit more challenging, in the sense that rather than true, false, and multiple choice are going to require critical thinking, going to require working within groups and solving problems and things of that nature. Some of the signature experiences that we provide are things like place as text experiences, where rather than reading a textbook, you'll go to a physical space and you'll read what that space says. What is this space saying? We do e-portfolio assignments where you really are kind of reflecting over the semester, not just the academic things that you've done over the semester, but also looking beyond that, seeing how that applies into the world, professionally and socially. So just a few things. A lot of people think that every class that you take would be an honors class, but it wouldn't be. You're required to take a minimum of one honors class, not per semester, but per academic year. And then in addition to that, these experiences, we've found them to be transformative. We've had students that have spoken to these experiences being transformative to them as well. And all in all, it's just a different way of doing college, just a different way of preparing your mind for what's next after the 4 years that you spend here. So there's my 2 cents. And I'm going to pass it over to Andrew Myers, who provides valuable services within the Honors College with regards to scholarships, advising, and so many other things. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Andrew.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Harrison. We talked a lot about what from your perspective. And so when we talk about honors tracks, that's one way of doing a distinction. Starting next fall, all new honors students coming in as freshmen will be in the university honors minor. And so what that means is you'll be able to take one of our Gen Ed seminar classes. So that is limited to 15 students. And it's like Dr. Harrison said, it's more meaningful. So we do deeper discussion rather than, being lectured to for a full, hour and 15 minutes. Additionally, then beyond that, we want students to experience undergraduate research, and we see a lot of value in that. And we do have stuff set up in place at Wichita State with our first year research experience for our STEM majors. But then beyond that, we have a lot of opportunities for you to do either collaborative research or individual research in anything that you have a passion for. And you get a faculty mentor to work with you on that as well, and kind of dig a little bit deeper into something, whether it's in your major or minor or what have you. And we got to guide you through that process. Additionally, then you have 12 credit hours, so about 4 classes of really kind of creating your own. So you can do a departmental honors tracks. There are some of our departments on campus that have a full-blown honors track, but then we also have our marine linguist track. We do have a very robust leadership track in the Honors College, where it involves just about any kind of leadership class you can think of. And additionally, some travel seminars to different national parks, to different cities where we work with nonprofits through our Leadership Academy. And then we also have, like Bobby was talking about, in terms of that applied learning experience. That can be that undergraduate experience. It could be a study abroad, which kind of leads me to our scholarships. So within the Cohen Honors College, Dorothy and Bill Cohen did not want money to be a barrier in terms of enhancing your overall college experience. So we have one of our scholarships for students who are attending Wichita State, and that is the Cohen Enhancement Scholarship. And this is where, I want to study abroad. Maybe I want to go study at Okayama University in Japan, and go through that process because I want to minor in Japanese. I'm speaking of a student I just recently met with. And so what the Cohen Enhancement Scholarship does is it allows for us to help you with up to $4,000. And so if you think about a plane ticket being $1,000, if you think about the accommodations, the meals, and that kind of thing, registration fees. So we can help to up to $4,000, which is a great opportunity for you to take advantage of that. We've also had students use the Cohen Enhancement Scholarship to attend conferences where they're presenting. Maybe we had a student recently who had a research paper in electrical engineering that they presented at a conference in Florida. And so we were able to help with that. Again, that flight out, the stay, registration for the conference, and that kind of thing. So there's a wide variety of opportunities that you can use the Cohen Enhancement for. And so just feel free to ask more questions about that if you'd like when it's time for that. Additionally, part of those scholarship competitions, we do have the Koch Scholars Program, which is for certain majors within the School of Business, and then certain majors within the College of Engineering. And that would coincide with the same day as DSI. And so it's a bit of a logistical thing in terms of getting all those interviews scheduled that day. But same process through the scholarship universe in terms of submitting everything by November 1st. And that also includes applying to the Cohen Honors College by November 1st as well. But you can go ahead and apply to the Cohen Honors College now for next fall, and we would all go ahead and consider that application. Additionally, we have the Lenora McGregor Scholarship. That's a scholarship. We've talked about the Distinguished Scholarship Invitational, the Koch Scholarship Invitational. This is going to be those who have demonstrated academic excellence and want to continue to do that, and have an interest in just furthering your academic knowledge while you're at Wichita State University. The McGregor Scholarship can award up to $26,000. And then the scholarship for the Koch Scholarship can award for in-state students about $30,000 total. And then for out-of-state up to $45,000. So with the Koch Scholarship Program, we also, I do a lot of different events. We have a welcome dinner at the President's Residence here on campus. I do professional development. I have one on professional communication. I have a seminar next week. So we do a variety of different things, including some community service or service learning and community engagement. Additionally, when you're admitted to the Honors College, you will automatically get a merit scholarship. So just like Bobby talked about, students getting scholarships for being admitted to Wichita State on a various range. We also have an honors merit scholarship, and it's just being admitted to the Honors College. There's no grid we use or anything like that. And just by being admitted. Additionally, we do have some that are need-based as well through the Cohen Honors College for students who have some need. And additionally, other ways that we can help you is even as you get in to your career at Wichita State, you're getting closer to thinking about graduate school. We assist students with different kinds of fellowships and grants and scholarships for larger, things that students do, like the Fulbright and whatnot, for graduate school. So we do assist with those applications as well. So a lot of information there, but I do know that our alumni will be able to speak to that. And I did want to mention too, Bobby, that Ebony Moore, who we looked at, who is a Red Scholar, also an honor student, and she is utilizing the Cohen Enhancement Scholarship here coming up. She'll be studying business in South Africa. So kind of a cool opportunity for her as well.
Wow, great. Thank you for making that connection. That's awesome. All right. So I think we've covered the scholarships, and would one of you speak just a little more specifically about how students would go about applying for the Honors College once they are admitted to the university?
Hello, I guess I can take that. Yeah, the Honors College, if you take a look at the slide that we have up here, wichita.edu/honors, will take you to the application. The application is pretty cut and dry. We have kind of gone to a holistic admissions approach. We used to have kind of a hard line in the sand, this grade point average, this standardized test score. We still look at those things, but we don't have a minimum requirement anymore. We want to know, kind of, rather than just numbers, who is this person behind the numbers? And so we ask for a resume. Obviously, it's not going to have 20 years of job experience, but we want to look for things like community service, what type of things were you involved in school, and things of that nature. And then, as well as any jobs you had, any leadership opportunities you might have had as well. Anything else you find interesting that you might want us to know about you, competitive sports, things like chess club, things of that nature. Just kind of give us a better idea of who you are. And then we have you to write an essay. It's not a real long essay. It's a 500 to 1,000 word essay. Rather than just giving us a full blown out essay, we want you to kind of pinpoint those things that are important and kind of streamline that essay. So that's pretty much the process. And of course, like Mr. Gandu said, you would have to be admitted to the university first, and then you would apply to the Honors College, because you would need your shocker ID in order to do so. Anything you want to add to that, Andrew, or did I cover it?
No, just just like any, I'm a former college counselor, so I'd say just like any other scholarship application you have, work on that essay in like in a Word document and that kind of thing, because we do have you speak to our 4 pillars of excellence within the Honors College, and speaking to one that might kind of describe you, and then one you would like to work more on. And so again, we and that too would be also kind of the similar essay for the McGregor. So it's kind of the 2 birds with 1 stone there. Not that I condone killing birds with rocks, but the saying stands true here as well. And then once you're in the college, maintaining an overall 3.25 GPA at Wichita State, and we know that college is hard. So if you do fall below that, don't worry. We work with you, and we're not in the business of kicking students out of the Honors College. And so we really continue to work with you in understanding if you're still getting that meaningful experience through the Honors College. We want to hold on to you and help you be successful in whatever you want to do.
Thank you for that. Before we kick it over to our Honors College graduates, Ella is asking, how much is the Honors Scholarship? Andrew, can you speak to that?
The merit?
Yes, I think that's
the merit. Good question. So it is your first 2 years. So your freshman, sophomore year, you would get $500 per year. So $250 per semester. And then obviously then we would be looking at some additional scholarships that we have available to upperclassmen.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Well, next up, we are so fortunate to have, and I'm going to stop sharing because I want to see their beautiful faces. We have two of our graduates from the Honors College in Wichita State, and Dr. Harrison is going to moderate this portion. But, I just couldn't resist an opportunity to brag about these two. They're phenomenal people. Recent Wichita State graduates, both respectively. I had the great pleasure of knowing them personally when they were in college at Wichita State, and even Maribel when she was in high school, for that matter, too. So, Dr. Harrison will have some specific questions because he wants to make sure their experiences are brought forward. But I want to tell you and confirm for you that Maribel and Lucas Webb, who you're going to hear from, are really just wonderful people who lived and breathed an exceptional Wichita State experience when they were students here. They were student leaders, really active on campus. I don't want to butcher their titles and their roles these days. So maybe we'll have them introduce themselves, and then Dr. Harrison will take it from there and ask the questions that we want to make sure we put forward. So, Lucas, do you want to start?
Sure. Well, first off, can everyone hear me? Perfect. Okay, so my name's Lucas Webb. I graduated in 2020, an unfortunate year, but so it's been a few years since I've been at Wichita State. Right now, I'm working with Lockheed Martin Skunk Works out in Palmdale, California. I got my undergrad in aerospace engineering, and right now I'm in their engineering leadership and development program, which is basically a 3-year or a 1 year per rotation for 3 rotations in different job areas. So right now I'm doing radio frequency engineering, which is integrating antennas into flight vehicles, essentially. That's a little bit about me.
Thanks, Lucas. Maribel?
Yes. Hey, everybody. Good morning. My name is Maribel, and I graduated in 2021. So just a year after Lucas. Also, hi, Lucas. We were in multiple student organizations together. So very, very happy to connect again with, now I can say a colleague up here, a fellow alum. And I, since graduated, had been in an internship that landed me a full-time job. And so that was awesome. The timing and the way that worked out. And once I get into my honors experience and my classes and everything, it makes a lot of sense, like what I do connected to what I did at WSU and what I studied at WSU. So I am actually an honors baccalaureate major. So I can really claim the honors college entirely. But what that means is that I have this interdisciplinary degree where I studied multiple majors across colleges without having to have 2 degrees, which would take essentially 2 sets of 4 years. And so this way was creative, this way was collaborative, and I really, really enjoyed that. So my concentrations are now what my majors would be called, are in business management, out of the business college, and then communications, which is out of the LAS, liberal arts and sciences. And then I had a leadership track as well. So I claim leadership in my mix. And I currently work up in Washington, D.C. As a manager of high school leadership programs for the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute. Such a mouthful. It's called CHCI for short. And it's a nonprofit that's sort of the leg institute nonprofit of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. So Hispanic members of Congress coming together to say, hey, I think the Latino community in the United States needs more leadership experiences, and us being at the center of leadership, we should provide that at no cost. And so I run a program for high school students that identify as Latinos to come to Washington, D.C. and get to know the city, get introduced to politics and government and the way that functions. They get to advocate on the Hill with their members of Congress. And so really full circle moment from a lot of the things that I did at WSU. Again, I was involved in diversity efforts and then leadership learning in the classroom.
All right, great. Thank you. Dr. Harrison, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, thank you for telling us a little bit about yourselves. I guess the three questions I have, and then after that, I want to see if there's any questions from anyone that came in to participate today. My first question is if each of you could kind of speak to how the Honors College might have helped prepare you in any way for life after undergraduate school, whether it be in your profession or in your social life.
Yeah, sure. I can go first. So one of the really cool things that honors has directly had an impact for me was actually when I was interviewing for this ELDP, the Engineering Leadership Development Program. They were asking me about my leadership skills, any initiatives I had currently taken on, things like that. And one of the great examples that I was able to use was that when I was in the Honors College Student Council, one of the things that myself and our then president, Abby Juergensmeyer, was able to help spearhead, and Maribel actually helped us in this too, was getting rid of some of those barriers for specifically underrepresented low-income students into getting into the Honors College. So eliminating that minimum GPA that some people might not have been able to get because they were working throughout high school and that kind of hit their GPA a little bit, or just an array of other things that might happen. And so working with the dean, working with leadership boards to help get that passed was something that I was able to convey to the interviewers, and they really liked that and thought that that would help make a good leader within the company. So that was one thing. One of the other things as far as classes is the smaller class sizes that you get within honors really helps facilitate discussion. For example, I took basically a philosophy of space exploration class, which was really cool to me. And it was about, I don't know, I think like 8 students or so. And I really got a lot out of that class just because we got to have so many discussions. It wasn't all like, here, do these equations and do your homework, and then we'll have a test on it. Really got to have conversations. For example, when someone goes out, we start going out and exploring space, Mars, things like that. You have to consider, who's going to go out there first? Is it going to be the uber rich? And if they're going to set up a settlement, are they going to consider lower income people? Are they going to set up a community just for themselves? Things like that. So really, really cool to get different perspectives and really just have that kind of conversation that you wouldn't get in a larger lecture hall. So those are a couple examples that honors has impacted me.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of Lucas and say something kind of related to the classes as well. I think as honor students, we could like name drop some of the coolest classes that you will never like expect to be taken at a college campus. I took something called something about discovering creativity. There you go. And I loved it. It's something that was not related to, I didn't think that it was related to anything that I was studying. I didn't think you could be creative in the business world. I didn't know that those were like concepts. I wasn't in that sphere of my classes yet for those other when in my current majors. And so that whole setup of like finding inspiration among one another, finding creativity from the day to day, it broke it down in such a way that like I really try to be creative in the work that I do currently for my students, catering to their needs, right? Thinking about what inspires each person, which can drive the creativity, the things that they find creative. And then ultimately, like at the end of that course, we were told that we were all getting A's, because then they got into this concept of how like grading scales kind of like a trigger creativity or like makes it harder for spaces to be creative because you're under pressure of an academic grade. And I take that and run with it. Just in life, I think about how like we should find the beauty in life and in the day-to-day life and not feel need to shoot for something, aim for something and forget about like finding the little things. And so that's kind of a philosophy I take in life. And then my leadership classes, I like straight legit take some of the inspiration, the format, whatever, to my job, to my actual students now. And so I always get to shout out Wichita State, my mentors and my faculty that taught me really how to be this sort of facilitator. I almost call myself a teacher in the summer camp that we run, right? How to facilitate conversations where the students lead it, where I am just there as a background. That's what a lot of Dr. Cohen from the leadership curriculum, the leadership staff and faculty taught me how to be hands off and how to let the group guide itself towards a mission. And so that's the philosophy I take in my own leadership style, I think, a lot in my career. And then outside of that, like in other ways, it impacted me because I got funding to travel abroad, right? The scholarship that that was mentioned before that Andrew said. I also went to the Netherlands and to Paraguay, where I have networks now in Europe and South America. And so those types of things are impactful too, because I want to continue to travel and to get to know parts of the world, and I can revisit areas where I've made connection and I didn't have to worry about cost. I come from a low income family. So these things never seemed possible to me. They still didn't to my parents when I told them that I was going for free. Like they thought I robbed somebody or something, because these things are unheard of. So I really do I owe a lot to the Honors College, seriously, for kind of changing the way that I look at things and have got opportunities that I wouldn't have had otherwise.
Awesome. Thanks both of you for sharing. I see some questions coming in, and we'll get to those in just a second. I have a couple more, and then we'll promise we'll get to your questions also. But yeah, definitely keep sending them in the chat. But both of you, Lucas and Maribel, thanks for sharing those experiences and just really how Honors College has been transformative in kind of helping prepare for some of the things you do now, whether it been from leadership opportunities, being able to look at artful ways and creative ways to approach business and life, or just by having deeper discussions on content. So thank you so much for sharing those things. Next question I have for you is, why is it important from your perspective for diverse student populations to take advantage of honors or even other rigorous learning opportunities?
I'll start. You want to take that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? Because this is an interesting question, specifically because of my choice of career, right? And my passion. Like I serve underrepresented students, right? I serve a population of high achieving Latino students. We don't have, and here I am pitching my own program now. But if you are in high school and want to have a leadership experience and you identify as Latino, look up CHCI and the Next Generation Leadership Program. But I think about a lot of times how I should frame that experience and how I should continue to inspire them to do things that are going above and beyond, which is what honors really is, without also kind of, I don't know, giving them blowing their head up for lack of better words, right? Like telling them they are the best and they can do all the things. I tell them really straightforwardly that a lot of our counterparts, like our white counterparts, are just as able, capable, and amazing as students of color. But a lot of times our lived experiences, the ways that we've been raised, in my case, I think a lot about the lack of language and education that my parents had, thank you so much, Bobby, that could be a barrier to my success. It really can, because my parents can't translate, they don't understand what I'm doing in the classroom, so they can't help me with my homework. So that might mean that I get lower grades. Like all these things that are situational have nothing to do with my capabilities as a gifted human being. And I try to tell that to my students too. And I hope I can relay that message here, is that we have the same capabilities as everybody else, getting higher opportunities and whatnot. And I think we should take advantage of them, because they change not only our lives, but our families' lives. I got to take my mom to Italy for the first time, right? Just because I had a big girl salary now. I would have never been able to do that had I not had a a college degree, and a good one that got me a good job right outside of college, you know? So these types of things are essential to, again, our community, not just, and the way that you inspire others too. I love getting random messages from folks in my hometown saying that my hometown is a majority minority city. It's 60% Latino. And so they get to see that it's possible. And I think that that's meaningful enough for, I hope all of us to try to get engaged in things like honors classes and honors activities.
Yeah, everything that Maribel said. Yeah, I think perspective is really one of the core things here. And in order to when you have a diverse honors college, you get diverse discussion and you get more in-depth discussion. You get to see perspectives from other people that you wouldn't normally see. You know, one of the main reasons why we're pushing is because underrepresented people have obviously had disadvantages in their education for past however many a long time. And so we're really trying to provide these opportunities to help us catch up, essentially. And that's one of the things that we've really worked to do. And I think that obviously taking advantage of those is very important. And I don't know, not taking advantage of them when the opportunity is right in front of you and it's so easy to take advantage of is kind of disservice to yourself. And like what Maribel was saying, get ahead in life, take those trips to Italy, develop your education, your success, you know, things like that.
Appreciate you. And I don't know if everyone else noticed, but there was just a sense of excitement in both of those answers. And so I definitely appreciate that. Those were organic, authentic answers. Especially, I got a big girl salary now. I can take my mom to Italy. That's powerful. So I just have one last thing, and then let's answer some questions that are in the chat. And so my last thing is, could either of you or both of you give just one piece of advice for someone that might be on the fence? Maybe I want to do honors college, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I'll start with that one. I would say definitely take advantage of the honors college. There's I saw in the chat, one of the questions was, can you give some of the pros and cons of being in the honors college? And truth be told, I can't think of any cons. I have had nothing but great experiences and great opportunities presented to me from the honors college. And so, I mean, if you're on the fence, just go for it. You never know what might come of it. In my view, I try to take every opportunity that I can because you never know what might come from it. I've gained a lot of friends in the honors college. I've gained a lot of different opportunities. I almost got to travel to Costa Rica for a service trip for one of my engineering 2020 requirements, but unfortunately, that was in the year 2020, and COVID kind of ruined that. But you know, you never know what opportunities might be presented to you. So I would say definitely go for it.
Yeah, and I think in other terms, I'll quote one of my mentors who was my supervisor in the Office of Admissions. I worked with alongside Bobby as a diversity intern, recruiting students just for higher ed in general to tap their minds and try to inspire them to go to college. And we would hope WSU, but at the time, my that manager of mine, she was the one who recruited me to WSU, but specifically to the DSI, the Swedish Scholarship Invitational. And she just straight up told me, like, I told her, no, I'm not going to do it because I'm not good enough. I think a lot of times maybe because we come from these like underrepresented spaces that we feel that we're not good enough. And so I think I might have said something like, I'm going to waste my time doing that, or I have no chance of getting in, or something like that, right? And she was like, why are you betting against yourself so early on? Like, she just told me simply, like, texted me right, followed up and texted me right after and said, like, do it, just try it. You have nothing to lose. And again, and bet on yourself and go for it. And so I was like, okay, fine. But that kind of inspired me to take the leap. And, you know, I ended up winning that scholarship too. And so I ever since that, I just learned to really shoot for the highest thing. There's a saying, right? Shoot for the stars, shoot for the moon, land in the stars, or something. I really think that's legit. That is legit life. And so please, like, challenge yourself to do bigger and better things, that's leadership too, you know? And so the way that you can pitch that to employers and tell stories to your family and friends, like it'll be worth it at the end when you'll be able to say that you tried something that was big and scary and you did it.
Awesome. And I think the common theme with both of those answers is just to go for it. Try something, believe in yourself, and definitely know that you're capable of accomplishing whatever you put your mind to. Just one little fact that I'll point out is that students in the honor college tend to do better in their honors classes than in their non-honors classes. So definitely intriguing, engaging classes that we think that you'll find some enjoyment out of. So I don't know if you want to look at the questions or if you wanted me to start grabbing them, Mr. Gandu, how you want to do this? There's a few in the chat.
Yeah, I'll just jump in and loft them to really any of you. A couple of them could be answered by our grads, and some of them may need to be answered by yourself or Andrew Byers. So one of the questions, which is a really great one from, I'm not sure if it's pronounced Chelsea, but apologize if I mispronounced that. But they ask, how does the Honors College prepare you for internships? They're hoping for a detailed explanation. And I know you both have had awesome internships and experiences when you were still students at Wichita State. So could you connect those dots in terms of the Honors College experience and how they might have influenced your internships?
Sure. I'll go ahead. So I did one internship in my undergrad at NASA Ames out in Mountain View, California. And well, what I was doing there was essentially working within the rotorcraft aerodynamics branch. So basically analyzing a lot of testing that they've done. So I would say one of the things that stuck out to me about that internship, we were talking to one of the employees there, and they said, you know, obviously you're here to learn technical aspects of this industry, apply what you've learned, things like that. But the main reason you're here is to network with everyone that you can. Get those connections that leads to more jobs, more internships, whatever you want. And so I think one thing that really has helped me from the Honors College is helping in those networking opportunities, kind of learning how to network, to talk to people about different things like that. You know, coming, like, again, hitting the small classes, you have more of that discussion to facilitate, you know, creativity, different ideas, things like that. That, along with my experience of trying to push that initiative, working with Dean Engber and different professors and people like that, really developing those networking skills in that way really helped me in my internship to develop different connections. You know, I know some people working down at Cape Canaveral, down at the NASA launch site there. And we've had some really great discussions, opportunities, and things come from that. So I think one of the big things that has helped me from the Honors College directly into my internship is definitely the networking aspect.
Yeah, and me similarly, I think the way that I work with others has been influenced by the Honors College. A lot of my Honors College classes were collaborative. Like there was nothing that we did, almost nothing that we did solo. And, or at least the ones that I remember, because I think that also sparked some love in teamwork. And so now I noticed in my job, I don't ever hesitate to like contribute, you know, and I know how to bring people in and invite them into the conversation, how to talk about things and view them from different angles that might not be the way that everybody views things, and have civil discourse. And so I think that really, really prepared me to speak professionally, right? To challenge thoughts, to challenge the way that things are kind of whatever things that are happening. And so, yeah, I credit the Honors College a lot for that. I also want to shout out Dean Imberg, just as Lucas did, because she guided me. So the staff themselves as well, starting from the dean down, and everybody in the Honors College is good people who really believe in you. And I think that also helped prepare me for my internships, because a lot of the things that I applied to, I wouldn't have applied to had I not been recommended to do something of the sorts by, again, faculty in these areas. The dean that herself, helped me with my application to the Fulbright as well. And so things like that really, really are invaluable too, and help me to be a better, in my internship, I work with high school students. It's the same internship. This is my same job was my internship before. And so it helps me even in the ways that I advise my own students and care for them.
Great. Thank you. Another question, maybe this one is for Lucas. Can you tell us a little more about being an engineering major as an honors college student?
Oh, yes. So for when I was there, we had a lot of credit hours being an engineer to take before you graduate. And I guess where I want to go with this question is, I guess, how do you balance it? I assume is kind of where you're getting at. So I was still able to graduate in 4 years, as Dr. Harrison and Andrew said. You have to take at least 4 honors classes. That's just for the track that I was doing, just the general Emory Lindquist track. One of the nice things is that as an engineer, you generally have to take, Calc 1, Calc 2, and Calculus 1 and Calculus 2. And then depending on your major, you might have to take Calculus 3. Well, I was able to take my Calculus 1 and 2 classes as honors classes. So, you kind of knock those out with 2 birds with 1 stone. And then along with that, you can take some summer classes. I took my philosophy of space exploration class in the summer, and then a research class as well. And one of the other nice things is that if for some reason you might not be able to fit another honors class that isn't in your major in your schedule, you can talk to your professor and turn your class into an honors class by maybe doing some extra assignments, doing some more in-depth work, things like that. And so that's kind of how I balance doing honors and engineering at the same time. If I didn't answer your question in the way that you were looking for, go ahead, please ask again, and I'll try to change my answer a bit.
Thank you, Lucas. One question I just want to repeat. Andrew thankfully answered it in the chat already, but it's just good information. Question was, is there an extra fee to be a part of the Honors College? Andrew answered it as the honors fee is $50 per academic year. And Andrew, could you speak to a little bit about what that might include in terms of some of the extra things that perhaps we haven't already touched on with the Honors College?
Sure. Well, some of the things is just as simple as, hey, you get free printing, right, in the Honors College, and so some of that stuff sometimes goes towards that. And you do have access to the Honors Lounge 24/7, which, like Bobby said, is in the first floor of Shocker Hall Building A. And and some of the stuff that we use that for, not only just like office stuff, but also we work with doing different events and programming with our student council, like Lucas had talked about. And so we're able to, hey, look, that's so quick. You guys just did that, right?
Yeah.
Literally just did that. So that's cool. So this is the lounge, right? And Wooshaw constantly hanging out in there. And it's okay. We welcome everyone. But at any rate, you have access to this, whether you are currently living in Shocker Hall or not. You use your student ID to kind of use a card access to enter. And we will have students in there at midnight, 2 a.m., working on, research papers or whatever. I don't recommend that, but, I'm happy to talk to you about organizational skills. But at any rate, yeah, so you have access to those things. And like I said, different events that we host. We do have for kind of a newer thing here in the Honors College for all of our new incoming freshmen, we have what's called Honors Colloquium. So colloquium just kind of means discussion. And so we have found a way to convene all of our new students into one spot, some kind of magical there's still a few, you still feel you have different science labs, or if you are playing an instrument, you might be in an ensemble. So we find alternative times, but a couple times during the semester, each of the semesters, your first year, where we gather students. And so we had like 130 honor students, new students, all in the Beggs Ballroom. And so the different things like that, so that we can offer those kind of events and provide different materials and stuff like that. We also pay a fee for what's called Pebble Pad, which is the portfolio that Dr. Harrison was talking about. And that's a way for you to reflect upon your honors experience and kind of track everything that you've done, about what Maribel and Lucas have talked about in terms of maybe in applied learning or internships. And maybe we did a places as text, maybe you went on leadership academy, and like this year we're going to Memphis. I also included a link. We're doing a new service learning program similar to that for honor students, where we're going to Paraguay. And we have a lot of Wichita State alum in Paraguay because of the partnership between the state of Kansas and the country of Paraguay. A lot of students come here for college. And so again, we work with 3 different nonprofits there. So there's just a lot of different things that we can use it for, but what we do use it for is for you, as for the students. It doesn't, it's not something we just use and go get manicures and pedicures or something like that. So, although I might need one, no, I was kidding. But yeah, so if I hope that kind of rambling message answers the question.
Thank you, Andrew. There was a question: do the honor students live on the first floor of Shocker Hall or the suites?
So we honor students, typically any new freshmen will live in Shocker Hall, and you have a variety of opportunities within housing. One of them being that we do have an honors living learning community. And so we have a room for about 24 students in that living learning community. And just and it might be kind of confusing, we talk about being in Shocker Hall. So the student lounge in our offices is like an extension of on Shocker Hall. But then if you go on down first floor, you're going to see different honors offices, or not honors, sorry, housing offices, care team, that kind of thing. But then our students are actually used to be right above us, but now they're over in the other side of the complex here in Shocker Hall, and there. And then the suites is, really upperclassmen, flats, upperclassmen. So it's not designated for any one particular major.
Great, thank you. Lots of good questions in here. Some of this was covered, but maybe Lucas and Maribel, I'll just give you an opportunity if there's anything you wanted to add. How does the Honors College provide, I guess others can answer this too, of course, Dr. Harrison and Andrew, how does the Honors College provide special tutoring or other services? Perhaps anything we haven't touched on already that you would want to make sure you either took advantage of, Lucas and Maribel, or, that we offer that we want to make sure folks hear?
Yeah, I was just like reminded by the screen sharing that you had with the setting itself, like the office. I don't know if y'all still do this, but in my time there was free printing. And I know that seems like such a little thing, but it makes the biggest difference when you need something last minute printed. And you can just, like, if you live in Shocker Hall, you can go down to the printer, or if you're already studying and prepping for things there, which I felt so attacked when Andrew said you could be there at 2 a.m. I was often that student that was doing a lot of procrastinating and had to be there at 2 a.m. to print something off. And so the setting itself, like just the environment is such a plus, like a service that you wouldn't think is important. But again, I don't think I would have passed classes if I didn't have that space to like get out of my room, be somewhere else, meet people. A lot of times, like there was already folks down there that were studying, so that environment helped as well. But then also just the fact that it's 24/7, nothing else on campus, at least I don't think, is like that. They close. And so if you do happen to procrastinate and you need to spend a little bit of a later night, Andrew, don't kill me on this one, but it happens. And and that's there for you.
Yeah, definitely. With that 24-hour office access was really great. I remember when we were taking Calculus 1, I think it was, a few of us from our calc class met down there, and we logged onto the computer and got it on the big screen and everything. We started watching like Khan Academy videos and started working on stuff on the whiteboard, and things like that was a really great learning opportunity for me. It made me understand things a lot more, but also a really great bonding experience and bringing you closer.
Great. Thank you. A couple of questions. Do honor students get course enrollment advantages? Andrew, do you want to speak to that?
I love that question. Yes, you do. So, typically, students are able to see the schedule of courses for about a month out, and then when it's time to enroll, for example, for this spring, the first day to enroll is November 13th. Typically, you're going to have seniors, upperclassmen that get kind of first dibs at that because, hey, they don't want classes to fill up. They have to graduate, right? But what we do is for all of our honor students, no matter what level you're at, we provide you with a PIN number, and so that you can enroll that first day of enrollment. So even our current freshmen can enroll the very first day of classes, and be able to get in there and get the classes that they need.
Great. Thank you. Tom asks, could someone give an overview of each of the tracks explaining the differences? Andrew?
Yeah. And what we talked about and Lucas mentioned, there's 12 credit hour tracks. We do have the Emory Lindquist Scholars track, which is, again, 12 credit hours. You're going to do a Gen Ed, honors Gen Ed seminar class. So what's that mean? So let's say I take honors 305, I can't remember what it was, but it's a history beyond the headlines, right? So that is not only counts as an honors seminar because we're limiting it to 15 students. It's more discussion based with Dr. Keith Pickus, but it also is counted as a Gen Ed humanities requirement, right? So you will fill in an honors requirement, and you will be filling in a general education requirement as part of your overall education at Wichita State. And then we have an intern or undergraduate research within that. It is not just limited to honors. It's any kind of undergraduate research you might be doing. There are some like senior design 2 within engineering, right? So where there's undergraduate research that's already baked into the curriculum of your current major. And so we can do a substitution for those. And then you have about 2 classes, so about 6 credit hours of electives. That could be honors classes. You can turn almost any undergrad class at Wichita State into an honors class. So if it's not already designated as an honors within the department or within the honors college, you can fill out an honors option agreement form, talk to that faculty and say, hey, I'd like to turn this into an honors. Is that an additional 10-page research paper? Is it I'm helping with pre-existing research? Am I doing a creative project along those lines? So whatever the faculty determines, and then we, at the end of the semester, I just check, hey, did the student do their honors part? And they say yes. And so I send a list over to our registrar's office, and they turn that class into an honors for you. So it doesn't have to already be an honors class. You can turn a class into an honors. So that goes the same for the rest of our tracks. The leadership track, there is a list of classes you can choose from. So it's like choose 2 from this area, 1 from this area. Again, that applied learning. We do have for students who are interested in maybe criminal justice or going pre-law or maybe public policy like political science. We have a law and public policy track, again, 12 credit hours for you to take. A lot of students take advantage of that if I'm prepping to go to law school and that kind of thing. We do also have a kind of interdisciplinary track, but like that's where you can kind of create your own. And so you kind of see that also going into what's our minor now of that 18 hours. And then our honors baccalaureate, which Maribel talked about, taking advantage of that. And really, there's no one specific way to do it because, again, what we talk about is what are you passionate about? I start all of my advising meetings with, what are your goals and aspirations, right? I'm not in here to just check off, make sure you're going through your list of classes. We want to make sure that with that academic freedom you have, that we're making sure that classes fit within what is going to give you an advantage into what you want to study, your professional career in the future. Maybe it's graduate school, med school, law school, what have you. So another example of like the honors baccalaureate, we have a student who is wanting to go on to physical therapy school. Okay, so that's a doctorate. And so they have a couple of our honors tracks that I talked about, but then they also have a concentration. They have 3 concentrations. One is in exercise science, and there's public health science, and another one is in psychology. And so they talk to those different departments of what classes they can kind of piecemeal together, similar to what Maribel did, that makes sense to what they want to do. And our honors baccalaureate students will work very closely with our dean to make sure that that happens.
Great, thank you. One of the questions is, sorry, there's lots of questions. I'm just trying to narrow down here a little bit. But one of the questions is a little bit about how professors might engage with honors college students. So I'd welcome many of you all maybe talking about that. Lucas and Maribel, you mentioned Dr. Ingber, the dean of the college, being involved in some things with you. Any other examples or any other specifics either of you would like to mention?
Yeah, I have one. So I mentioned I took an honors Calc 1 and 2 class. And for those, our professor was Dr. Brady, and everyone in there was honors. So whenever we seemed like we were kind of struggling with some things, he would schedule like a tutoring time or just like a review time with all of us in the honors college. So he would just set up a time for an hour or two. He would come over to the honors college student lounge. You'd just be there for us to meet with him and ask questions, go over some problems, different things like that. So he was very receptive and involved within the honors college. So that's kind of one example of how they're supportive.
Yeah, I think I mentioned him before, but I just come to think of Dr. Cohen, not named after the Cohen Honors College, but that's just a coincidence. That's his name. And he taught a lot of my leadership classes, and just, you know, again, his style of teaching, his leadership style in general has really influenced my own. And then he noticed that I was I took a leadership stance that was like very outspoken and like not afraid to kind of again collaborate and join discussions. And he asked me, I think he saw those skill sets, and he asked me to be a student facilitator in his course. So I ended up like kind of working with him and the staff, because he'd have a team for one specific course that was a pre-session class. So these are classes that you can take like during a break. So I think I took this during winter break, and so it was a week long. I can get 3 credits, but it's like 8 to 5 all week. Very intense class, but he needs more faculty there, and so I served as like student faculty in that class, and I just thought that was an amazing example of like a teacher really getting to know you, hence the class sizes and how that's feasible for that, and you know, playing to your strengths and inviting you to kind of grow your own professional leadership and development through, you know, putting me in the front of the room, putting me as lead for a lot of small groups. And so I really owe him that. I think I don't think I would go like the teaching facilitation route if I hadn't had that experience with him.
Great, thank you for those examples. There's a question about coming to campus and checking out Wichita State. Is there a day that we can come visit? So just generally speaking, we have lots of opportunities and ways in which you can come check out our campus in person. We have campus visits that are available where you'll get potentially a more intimate experience. You'll get a group tour presentation. The tour is done by one of our chakra navigators. It's a current Wichita State student. And through that experience, you'll also get to potentially meet with someone on in your area of study, your future area of study, and then also see a dorm. You can meet with someone in financial aid, someone in honors too. So those are all available through our campus visit experience. And then an additional opportunity is we have 2 upcoming Black and Yellow days where you can get a really nice broad overview of the university, and in many ways go a little further in each of our academic colleges, including the Honors College, get to learn more. I'm going to pop in the chat right now a link to the registrations for that, but there are 2 coming up. It's both Fridays, October 6th and October 20th, whatever those Fridays are. Is that right? Yeah, October 6th and October 20th. So I'm going to pop that into the chat now. It's going to appear under Sean's question there if anyone's looking for it. But there again, opportunities any day of the week, Monday through Friday, we're happy to schedule campus visits too. And sometimes Saturdays work better for families. And so we do have occasional Saturdays too, but just know if you come on a Saturday, it's a limited experience. There's not as much that's available to see. So we always recommend Monday through Friday, but of course we know that doesn't work for everyone. So we accommodate on Saturdays too. And then Dr. Harrison has graciously dropped his email in the chat for anyone who wants to sit in on an honors class. He'd be happy to help make that happen. So you see that there as well. Let's see.
And you know, in terms of like being a student for the day, maybe we have student ambassadors admissions, student ambassadors and honors. Yeah, you can certainly go to the various classes during the day and that kind of stuff and kind of see what it is like, because yeah, I mean, it is different, right? You're not sitting down like you do in high school, 8 to 3 or what have you. And so absolutely. And then also I know that like admissions will have their student ambassadors will do, Instagram takeovers too. So you can kind of get a bit of a glimpse through that too. But yeah, anytime you want to do that, just give us a heads up so that we can find the right student for you to do that.
Great. Thank you for that. And I appreciate the plug on the takeovers. Those are a lot of fun and give students an opportunity to showcase their experiences. I think both Maribel and Lucas did those earlier. I know, definitely remember Maribel doing some of those too. So all right, we've covered actually a lot of the questions. There was one question about being a student athlete in honors, but that individual had to leave. I think we've kind of covered the broad stroke of these questions. So maybe any parting shots or takes that anyone has to offer, any of us here in the room, that we need to, or we want to convey to our audience today?
Yeah, I'll jump in and like Dr. Harrison, I'll drop my email. I often share like my socials as well, so you can see some of my posts. I don't take down anything really of like WSU was like the most amazing 4 years of my life. I really, really enjoyed my time at Wichita State. I'm happy to give back. And I think that's what I get out of this whole thing, like being able to do this right now with you all, is that like, so many people, as mentioned at WSU and specifically at the Honors College, have poured into me and made me very successful. I couldn't have done it without, again, all of that. And so for that reason, I love to sort of wrap things up by giving you all my contact. Given that, yes, I also work with high school students, and just as somebody who is an alum who would love to talk about her experience all the time, and see how I can help.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just went ahead and dropped my email in the chat if you want. If you ever want to contact me about anything WSU related or engineering related or honors related, anything like that, I'm happy to answer questions. And I think parting words for me, I know at least when I was there, Dr. Ingber was really open to the students about, really make of this experience what you want of it. And that's something that really stuck with me. It seemed that the Honors College was kind of still, not necessarily in its forming phase, but it was still very open to forming it how the students wanted. And I think Dr. Ingber is really receptive to those ideas, really wants students to tell her, what can be improved, or if you really want the Honors College to take a huge left turn somewhere, I don't know, really have those conversations, really engage because I think she really takes the opinions of the students very seriously. So if you want a certain experience from honors, just tell her about it. Work with the honor staff, and you can really have some cool experiences coming out of this.
Great.
But I'll say too that you have to come to campus. I mean, it's just it's one of those places that when you get here and you realize that we're not making this all up, so everyone here is just so nice, and it's a very kind of a family oriented place in terms of like we just want you to succeed. That's all we get out of it. And so whatever experiences that you want to have, and if it doesn't already exist here, we will explore how we can potentially make that happen, and that kind of thing. So, and then to answer this, someone had asked, can you double major? You can double major at Wichita State in general. So certainly can do that in honors. And so again, we just want to create your individual path, and making sure that you achieve what you want to achieve. But like Bobby said, and you got to visit campus.
Let me just piggyback off of what Lucas said, and it kind of ties into what Andrew said as well. And that was what I thought was a powerful statement. Make of this experience what you want from it. And I think that really kind of encompasses really what honors is, to the extent that there's not one way to do honors. And it gives you some autonomy on how you do college. It gives you the opportunity to figure out what your interests are, what your strengths are, what your passions are, and make that part of your college experience. And so I appreciate you sharing that. That was pretty powerful. So that's the last thing I had.
Great. Well, this has been great. Maribel and Lucas, thank you so much. Dr. Harrison, myself, and Andrew, we're living and breathing Wichita State every day in our respective roles, but you have dedicated your personal time to be here on a weekend, on a Saturday morning. And Lucas, bless you. It is early in California. So thank you so much for getting up for us at this hour. We wanted to provide this on a Saturday morning because we know that is sometimes the best time to reach both students and parents. And so we thank you for doing so. So again, for all of you who joined us today, we just want to say thank you so much. We'll send the recording for this as a follow-up, and that way you can go back. If there's certain parts you want to listen to again, you'll be able to do so. So again, maybe just last pitch, make sure you apply for admission. It kind of unlocks the door to a lot of scholarship opportunities, both through the general process, but also for honors college scholarships as well. So we look forward to hopefully catching you all on campus or in a future event virtually. Thanks for spending some time with us on a Saturday morning. Cheers, everyone.